Hello, and thanks for joining ASAwins or ASAwins.com for our NFL over-under win total projections for the Green Bay Packers this year for the 2022-2023 season. A reminder, the football season is approaching fast, and we do have several offers available right now at ASAwins.com. You can get signed up for the full season football package. We've got a yearly membership. We've got monthly offers. Different specials available at this time. And again, if you're not familiar with ASA, we have stood the test of time in this industry. We've been handicapping professionally since the late 80s, early 90s. We formerly were employed by Docs Enterprises back in the early 90s before we branched off and started ASA on our own. So you can check out some different things about our company at ASAwins.com and learn more about us and how we handicap and how we operate. And I'm sure you'll find some things you like regarding our service. As far as the win total for the Packers this year, we've looked at this, and believe us, we are not hometown Packer fans. We handicap objectively and base our opinions on the statistics and the numbers. So this is not a home state bias by any means on the Packers, but we're going to predict over 11 wins for Green Bay, and we would recommend you shop this line. There are some 10.5s out there at different sports books. That's obviously a key number. We like it a lot more at 10.5, but there are some 11s out there. The Packers, they've won 13 games in the past 3 seasons. And let's face it, they play in a very weak division, the NFC North. None of those teams had a winning record last year in the North other than the Packers. The Vikings were 8-9, the Bears 6-11, Lions 3-13-1. In fact, if you go back the last 3 seasons, the Vikings have had one winning record at 10-6 of those teams. Otherwise, nobody has had an above 500 record more than once. When we look at the plus-minus differentials of all the teams in the NFC North, Green Bay obviously had the best with their 13-win season. They've got an average margin of victory, in fact, in the last 3 years of plus 5.1 points per game. We look at Minnesota last year. They had a negative differential of minus 0.1. The Bears were a negative 5.6 points per game, and the Lions minus 8.4 points per game. The Vikings and Bears, they're changing their defensive schemes this year, so I expect a slow start by both of those teams. The Lions were 11-6 against the spread last season, so we could see some improvement. But again, Detroit's a team that's won 3 games, 5 games, and 3 games the last 3 seasons. We do like Dan Campbell, but I'm not sure they can make a big improvement that somehow they would disrupt the NFC North and beat Green Bay a game or two. So, Green Bay is going to win 5 or 6 games against the North, and that's gonna go a long way in getting to their 11-win total this season. Again, they're probably going to win 13. That would be our guess. They're 22-2 straight up at home the previous 3 seasons, so they just don't lose home games. Last season they owned a top 10 defense, and expectations this year is they'll be better defensively, even though they did lose Zadarius Smith to the Vikings. But they added some players to the draft from Georgia who had the number 1 ranked defense in college football last year. So I don't expect a drop off. In fact, we expect an improvement by Green Bay's defense this year. The offense, the big question is the loss of Devontae Adams, their wide receiver, and how that's going to impact Aaron Rodgers and what he does. But, to be honest, when you look at Aaron Rodgers' passing statistics, we always ask, do Aaron Rodgers' wide receivers get open, or does he throw them open? I mean, look at Jordy Nelson a few years ago. Had some really good statistics with Aaron Rodgers, and then moved on to another team and just completely disappeared from the NFL, essentially. So, their wide receiver core right now looks like Lazard, Cobb, who's aging and maybe not as good as he used to be. They did bring in Sammy Watkins, drafted Christian Watson and Romeo Dubes. So they got a couple guys coming in that potentially can have an impact for them. And again, does Aaron Rodgers throw those guys open? He's got 12,416 passing yards in the last 3 years combined, 111 touchdowns to just 13 interceptions, and a 72% completion percentage. So I think any supporting cast is going to be just fine as long as Aaron Rodgers is throwing them the football. And I do expect Green Bay to have a better rushing attack this season. They were below average in most key rushing categories, and they really shouldn't be when you've got running backs like Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon in the backfield. So look for them to maybe early on especially run the football more, not put as much pressure on Rodgers in the backfield with his young wide receiving core. So, that will definitely help Green Bay in the long run. The Packers were underdogs last year just 4 times, and they did win all 4 games as an underdog. We currently have them favored in 14 games this season. Potential losses are at Tampa and against Buffalo. At Tampa they play, at Buffalo they play away in both those games. So, those could potentially be losses. But looking at the rest of their schedule, and again, considering the NFC North, we like them to get to over 11 wins, especially 10.5 if you can find that. So again, check out more offers and options at ASAwins.com. Be sure to hit the like or subscribe down below. We do appreciate you checking in, and best of luck this football season.